So my name is Boyd Benjamin, and I'm here to speak to you about reinventing your path in life. I got my notes here to tell you all about it. And so basically what I'm talking about is taking your circumstance in your life and your situation as individual as it is, and really just making it your own, making it yours as a path to follow. I'll still the while honoring where you came from. So what I mean by this is along the way, along my way, I guess I'll speak about, there are certain sacrifices that I had to make in doing so, and I'll speak a little bit about that. And giving back to community, and how I do that as a musician and a fiddler. I play other instruments too, but mostly people know me as the flying gwitch'in fiddler. And paying attention to the small things in your life that happen to you that sometimes you let pass you by, and I want to speak a little bit about that. Also, really just putting your best person forward, putting your best possible person with the best possible attitude forward so you can achieve certain things. So I believe certain people, actually I believe everybody, is born into a certain social and economic status. So some people could be born into a rich family, some people could be born into a poor family, some people could be born into a certain religious order, and so these things sometimes seem like they define us and who we are in this world, and where we are going to go in this world. And I think that certain humanity, well, I guess by nature of humanity, it allows us to change certain things in your life that you have the control of changing, and to sort of make your own path in your life. I was born in Whitehorse, Yukon. I'm from Old Crow. It's the most northern community in the Yukon. We have about 300 people that live there year-round. I don't live there now, but that's my hometown. My grandfather was Peter Benjamin, and he passed away when I was small, so I don't have any recollection of him. But he was a special constable with the RCMP detachment in Old Crow. So he used to be, he was the last RCMP officer to patrol the north by dog team. And he also was, he had 8 kids, my dad being one of them. And he also was a musician, so he played guitar and he played the fiddle. And we have in Old Crow some stuff that we do with music that you'll only hear in Old Crow. So we have songs that we play for dances, old-time traditional dances. We have songs that you'll only hear in the northern part of Canada and like the northern Alaska gwitch'in communities. So we have very particular music that we play, and so he played that for the dances, and he taught his kids how to play guitar, and some of them fiddle. And my uncle, his name is Alan Benjamin, he plays fiddle today. And I am the 3rd generation down from my grandfather to play the fiddle. And so that's sort of how I started playing the fiddle. When I was probably about 5 years old, I had a dream. I had a big dream of becoming a pilot. I used to be in our home in Old Crow, and I used to hear a plane either take off or land. And I hear the engine from takeoff start and spool up. And as it spools up, the louder it gets. And I used to stop everything I'm doing. I used to run to the back window, not walk, run to the back window just to see this plane take off. And sometimes there'd be bushes in the way, and even if I could just see the dust from the runway that this plane made, I would be completely satisfied to see this plane and to just it was so. I desired to become a pilot so much I was willing to do absolutely anything to do it, and as it turns out, I did. I went to high school here in the Yukon, and I took courses that I knew that I was going to need, like physics, and I also took an aviation course in high school. I graduated high school. I started my pilot license here. I went to Ontario. I went to a little town called Deseronto, Ontario. Went to an all First Nations school to learn how to become a pilot. So there I was, 17 years old, didn't know a thing in the world besides, just high school life and life in Old Crow and a small town sort of thing. And I was in Ontario. I took myself to out of my comfort zone, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But I was in Ontario. I was 17 years old. Didn't know anything about the world. I didn't have any friends or family there. I just had myself. And so anyway, as it turns out, I spent a year there, and then I transferred to Mount Royal University, where I graduated with an aviation diploma, and I spent 2 years there. So that's sort of a bit about how I became a pilot. But there's certain things that I had to learn about, and one of them was the sacrifices I had to make. So, and I'm talking about things like being away from home. That was that was the number one sacrifice, I think, that I took for myself. I took myself out of the comfort of my own home, and I took myself thousands of miles away across the country, and I put myself in a new environment. I put myself away from all my family and friends, away from all the comforts of your home, and for the purpose of me becoming a pilot, and that's one of the things that I was willing to do. So, and some of the things that I had to sacrifice were missing celebrations like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and sometimes birthdays and things that you really miss from home that you just kind of have to accept. Some of these things that I learned about them before I left, but I learned about these sacrifices in the moment as well. So, and something that I want to speak about as well is starting something new. This is another step that I had to take, that I realized along the way that starting something new was important for me to succeed to where I've come today. Things like jobs, you start a new job, or you get new friends, you make new acquaintances, and these are things to change. When I'm talking about changing, the things in your life that you want to change, and this includes taking chances. And I have a story. I graduated Mount Royal University with my aviation diploma in hand. I worked for a company up here, an aviation company. My goal was to become a pilot, to sit in the seat and fly the airplane. And as it turns out, with this company, it just didn't work out by nature of the job, and so I decided to quit my job. I was a flight attendant, actually. I decided to quit my job because I didn't like my life, as it were, where it was. I decided to leave the place I was living at. I went to the bank and I got a loan for $40,000. I moved away from my comfort zone again, from home, and I put myself into a new environment. I moved down to Abbotsford in BC, and I learned how to fly helicopters. And I got some negative feedback with that, and one of them was I was questioned as to why I had a university education with a commercial multi-IFR license to fly fixed-wing aircraft, and I hadn't done nothing with it. And now here's me learning how to fly helicopters, and to some people in the industry, it didn't make sense. And to me, it did make sense at the time. It was just one of those risks I was willing to take to get myself to where I wanted to go. And even maybe I didn't know where I wanted to go. This is just part of my journey, like everybody has a journey. So that was a big risk that I took. And some people said that I wasn't serious in my aviation career, and so I got a little negative feedback, which is fine, but I continued anyway. But all the while, I happened to be a musician. I played the fiddle mostly. I started when I was 14, and I used to go home because I did grade school and high school, well, no, grade school, elementary school, away from the Yukon. And on my breaks, summer holidays, I always came back to Old Crow to visit my dad because my parents were divorced. And I was 14, and it was the summertime when I picked up this fiddle. It was standing in the corner of the house, and I like music anyway, and so I picked it up and tuned it the way I thought was right, and I had no idea about fiddling. So I just started, and my uncle taught me about our music, our traditional music in Old Crow. He taught me a little bit about how we do it, and all the dancing, like the dancing I was talking about with my grandfather. So I learned that first, and as it turns out, I studied music in grade school all the way up to grade 12, and so I did learn a little bit about music theory, and so I was able to apply my knowledge of music into my fiddling, and so what you will hear later is the end result of that. I believe part of reinventing yourself for something positive is leaving the comfort of your comfort zone, leaving your home or leaving your bubble maybe, or whatever your comfort zone is, and to go outside of it and do something new, like moving yourself away. But when I was living outside of the territory, I used to really miss home, and I used to really miss my grandmother and my dad and my family, and I used to miss all these comforts of my home. So I used my music, I used the fiddle music to help bring me back to my comfort zone of home, my safety and security of home, while still being out and doing other things. And so that's what I'm going to say about music. It helped me in my life in that way. I believe people in small towns, it's normal to be able to want to live there. I think it's normal for people in small towns to live and learn their own traditional lives and what we do in the Yukon. It's normal for us to learn how to hunt, learn how to fish, learn how to cut wood and provide for our families. And up there we learn how to dance, and we learn all these things, which is great. I think it's also important to mention that there's still effects of residential school in our communities, in the northern communities, and probably everywhere else. And those are, I believe, will eventually phase away, but worth mentioning for now. I still think it's important to be a part of mainstream society and still be able to go home and be a part of your society. And I was 24 years old when I won my National Aboriginal Achievement Award, and they asked me, what is your advice for young people? Because I represented youth. And at the time I said, don't give up. Don't give up. There's always hope. Ask for help. There's always help. Just don't give up. Now I say something a little differently. I'm 29 now, and I think I've maybe grown a little wiser. But I have something else to say. I have said don't give up, but now I say don't be afraid to go out of your comfort zone, because that's how you learn things. Things will change. I believe things in your life change. Your priorities change. Your friendships will change. Your jobs will change. So in closing, I would just like to say that it's important to force yourself out of your comfort zone. And I said this a few times, because that is how I came to where I'm at today. So forcing yourself out of your comfort zone includes a few things, like maybe you can volunteer, maybe you can do a little bit of public speaking, for example. Like, for instance, right here, I'm doing a public speech right now. I am out of my comfort zone right now. I'm doing something that I don't normally do. I usually perform and play my instrument, and so although I'm out of my comfort zone right now, I'm able to open myself up. I'm able to let you guys in to see me and who I really am. And this will help me, for instance, to do something even more, maybe better, or maybe this will give me the skills and the tools that I'm going to need to do something greater and help me in my process of reinventing my path in life. So thank you very much for listening, You guys all have a great day.